Here's the Spurs News Roundup, providing you the latest Tottenham news all in one place in the last 24 hours. That's how the first part of the video works. Second part of the video is your full analysis, going through pretty much every single story. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much for coming in here. I hope this video gets you okay. Live from Corsica in France at the end of my holiday. Let's get straight into it with your Tottenham headlines in the last 24 hours for the 22nd of August. Starting with Fabrizio Romano, who says that Tottenham had new contacts for Savinho today. Spurs are pushing and insisting. Fabrizio Romano goes on to say that Tottenham had new contacts over a deal with someone in Manchester City hierarchy is pushing to keep the player, but Spurs are pushing to sign him, insisting they do want to do a deal. Spurs believe he'll be a perfect signing, and Thomas Frank is considered in love with the player and really wants him. The player is keen on the move as well, for sure, the words of Fabrizio Romano. Next, Give Me Sport report that Manchester United are hoping Tottenham re-enter the competition to sign Alejandro Garnacho. Daily Mirror report that Tottenham fear that Dejan Kulusevski could be out until 2026 due to his knee injury. Thomas Frank has spoken about Richarlison, saying right now he's my starting 9. He scored 2 fantastic goals. He had 2 top games. He's Brazilian's number 9. He's a very good player. I'm very happy with him. Richie wants to stay. I want to keep him. There's been no talks about anything else. Thomas Frank has confirmed that Basuma and the dog is still missing from Manchester City. Frank said Destiny is better. Training with the team twice. Full training. Just too soon to be involved for City. We want him to train tomorrow and have another good week next week. He looks good in place. Very positive about him. Biss will miss the game as well. Dejan Kulusevski's out. That's a longer one. I don't want to put a time frame on it. Romero, his new deal has been spoken about by Thomas Frank in his press conference today. Frank said, I'm very pleased. I think it was a fantastic signal from the club and from Christian Romero that he believes in the project and the journey we have just started. Next, Thomas Frank has spoken about the approach he's going to take to the Manchester City game. Frank said, I don't think there is a go-to system or go-to approach. We need to go there and be brave. We need to control phases 1 and 2. I think they're a team that for the last 4 or 5 years have been one of the best teams in the world. They want to bounce back. Brave and aggressive are the 2 key words. They are one of the big 3 contenders for the titles. A fantastic team, fantastic manager. To go there and get a result, get a win would be great for building. I treat every game differently. I will take a decision on what we do tomorrow. I always think how we can tweak the system, but the principles stay the same. Frank spoke about implementing the kind of psychology, saying it's an ongoing process, every day, every week. You only grow over time. To expect it to be perfect already is not realistic. We're definitely getting closer. Pep Guardiola was asked about Akanji and Savinho, whenever Savinho is linked to Tottenham, and Pep said, I don't know about that. They are our players and we'll see what happens. I think a few things are going to happen and we will see. Next, Kevin Danso is learning Spanish to improve communication with Tottenham captain Christian Romero. Danso said, I'm trying to learn Spanish. If you speak the language, then it's easier to communicate in that language and give them a better understanding of what is going on. I'm just learning from being around the Spanish speakers, listening to their conversations. That's how I learn French in France. Sometimes they say stuff to me in Spanish. I just try and figure out what it means. Romero is an amazing guy. In the dressing room, he's really calm, easy going. But on the pitch is where you see that warrior side. So if you see him get stuck into a tackle, it gives you confidence. I love that. As a defender, sometimes you need that aggression. That's a leading trait. If you think back to old centre-backs, the John Terrys, the Vidic as well. Matteo Morento reports that Nottingham Forest are considering sacking current manager Nuno Espirito Santo and replacing him with former Tottenham head coach Ange Postecoglou. Next, Corriere dello Sport report that AS Roma are attempting to sign Tottenham forward Wilson Odobert. Spurs want to start negotiations over his sale at around €25 million. AS Roma could meet this price through a loan fee and an option to buy the player. Next, Mail Sport report. Jeremy Pino has been on the radar of the likes of Tottenham, Bournemouth and Everton. Crystal Palace have also explored a move too. Thomas Frank was asked on whether he's thinking of using the same system versus PSG tomorrow against Man City. He said, I treat every game a little bit different. It's definitely in my mind the 3-5-2. It's also definitely in my mind the 4-2-3-1. And I'll take a decision on what we do, and you'll see that tomorrow. I'm always thinking how we can tweak a little bit inside our principles. Then of course system can give us something, but principles are the most important thing. So yeah, I'll be pragmatic. I'll use different systems and different ways to win football matches. Thomas Frank said we have 6 good front players and Kulusevski will come back. I'm also pretty confident that we'll sign a player before the end of the window. Thomas Frank spoke about the final few days of the transfer window, as you can imagine, topic of conversation. And Frank said, we are in the market and we will look to strengthen the team. We have a good squad and good players. I see 23 players working hard on the game plan for Manchester City tomorrow. We need to do everything we can to be as competitive as possible. I'm confident we will sign a player before the end of the window. 2 players in, 2 players out, so probably a bit similar. It's the same level, but that's good. It's my job and that of my staff to make sure we can compete. Every club wants to sign players as early as possible, but it's not as easy as that. I'm a positive guy. I'm not that fearful. I believe something will happen. Frank went further, said I don't speak about specific players unless they're a fantastic club. There have been a lot of rumours. A lot of times there's been a lot of it. That's just part of the business. There'll be a lot of links to generalise that. To be very, very clear, I don't want any players that don't want to come to the club. They don't want to come to the club to wear this fantastic badge. We don't want them there. There's a couple of things. The club is working very hard to see if we can strengthen the squad with players who can improve the squad. That's what we'll continue doing until the end of the window. Manchester City team news then ahead of Man City versus Tottenham Saturday lunchtime. Pep Guardiola has confirmed that Savinho has not recovered, therefore he won't be able to face Tottenham. Phil Foden and Rodri are back though, confirmed by Pep Guardiola. Tottenham under-21s are in action this evening, hosting Crystal Palace in our first home Premier League 2 fixture of the campaign. The game's being played at Stevenage. It's a 7pm kickoff, so maybe this time the video does reach you. It'll be underway or maybe even finished. The under-21s won their first Premier League 2 game of the season, beating Sunderland 5-3 away on Monday. And boss Wayne Burren said, we had a long trip back from Sunderland on Monday evening, but we've been at it all week preparing well. The games are coming quickly. Next, former Tottenham defender Sergio Aurier is expected to be sidelined for at least 6 months, so Aurier a full recovery. The Independent report that Manchester City are currently blocking Tottenham's move to sign Savinho. Their bid worth close to £70 million is believed to be enough to see them change their stance. Thomas Frank spoke about Tottenham's transfer window, whether it's stronger than before. He said, you can say that's 2 players in, 2 players out, so it's probably pretty similar. I would also say, I think I said it in my first press conference, that it's also a good squad. I think there's some talented players. I think there's some players quality as well. So probably the same level, but I think that's good. That's up to me and my staff. And that is your Spurs news roundup in terms of your headlines. Then we get to the second part of the video, dissecting them, and we kind of pick out the key stories. So what should we pick up? So let's talk generally about Savinho. I said before, I think it'd be a good sign. I think we have got to go all out for Savinho. It should be a case of Savinho and Eze, but it looks like it's just going to be Savinho or nothing at this moment in time. Savinho, obviously seen as a left winger, haven't really signed that replacement for Son, so Savinho would be good. And I think £70 million just can't get done at this point, because I don't think the left wing, like, we need to strengthen it, but it's not essential, because Johnson can play there, Tell can play there, Odebeck can play there too. It's in need of improvement, but it can wait potentially till January, certainly over a number 10, and Kulusevski potentially being out to 2026, number 10 for me is so important. Yeah, Daily Mirror saying that Kulusevski could be out until 2026, that's a real shame for him. I don't think that we're into the conversation again for Garnacho, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. Apparently he's really set his way for Chelsea, and it's good that Frank kind of confirming that he's going to stay really, and how he's a starting number 9. That's absolutely fantastic to hear, and the report's still quite concerning that we will have to consider throwing the deal for Eze, which obviously didn't go through in the end anyway. Maybe a blessing in disguise in that sense, as much as frustrating it is not to land Eze, and I'm still annoyed with the club. Maybe they looked at it and thought Nketiah's injured, we'll throw in a striker to speed up the process, but totally wrong for me to throw Richarlison in there. So we've got the team news, so still too early for a doggy, and Bassoon, of course, Kulusevski missing it as well. I think you forgot to mention the likes of Takai and Draxler are still injured as well. What else have we got? Yeah, I like that Frank's really flexible. We finally got somebody who's flexible in game. That's why I'm really passionate about giving him the tools. I just like that he says, look, I've got 2 formations. He's totally honest and transparent about what those 2 formations are. He's like, I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. I just like how much analysis goes into it, how much thought, and it's just that tactical flexibility, adapt for your opponent that we haven't had. I love Ange Postecoglou, I've said it before, and I don't get too hung up about him because he's no longer at Tottenham, but I thought he was very, very good, and I was sad to see him go, but now I look back and I think we just played one way, very predictable, very open, carbon copy every week in some aspects, whereas Frank changes in game, and I really, really like that. I'm trying to create this, that kind of mentality, and it's really good. Romero, obviously we know doesn't speak strong English, so Danso's trying to learn Spanish. It'd be interesting to see how that goes. I mean, I know it's a little bit unrelated to Tottenham, but mean, the thoughts of Forest sacking Nuno Espirito Santo, former Tottenham manager, to replace him with another former manager, Ange Postecoglou, is very bizarre in the fact that Nuno's done a fantastic job, but Nuno said that he's kind of hinted that the relationship's not as good as it was, as what he said. It's basically not very good, so something dodgy going on there. Looks like Nuno will be relieved of his duties, which is a real shame. He's done a great job last season. Some will say it's maybe as far as he can take Forest, but if you get them in Europe, you deserve a chance for me to manage them in Europe. Corriere dello Sport said that Roma were interested in Wilson Odobert, not necessarily saying if we are considering selling him. We haven't seen enough for Odobert. I don't think we should be selling him. I can't be honest with you and say, look, this is a player that should be starting should be starting games regularly. Let's say at the same time, I also can't say it's a player that we should be selling because we simply haven't seen enough. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more. Also, we got Joey Pino to add to the list. Yeah, just don't really talk about that because we're just getting more and more targets. I mean, Frank thinks we have 6 good players and Kulusevski coming back, but it's just worrying that he's saying I'm confident we will sign a player. Well, I think us Tottenham fans were thinking we probably need 3 players, a left winger, 10, and centre back. But Frank's saying I'm confident we will sign a player. I mean, it might just be the way he comes across, but it's not very good. But where I would agree with Frank, and I really like the way he comes across in terms of he's saying, look, we only want players that want to be here, and we want players that are going to fight for this badge, and I do really like that, and that is so true. As much as the club have got blood in their hands, that is absolutely spot on. All the best to Aurier and his recovery, all the best to Spurs under 21s. They started off the season very well, so hopefully they can really push on and win that first home game, which has been played at Stevenage. So I hope that they can really have a good campaign this year, and I really think they can do. The Independent said that Man City still blocking Savinho's move, but again, we come in £65 to £70 million. That could be a completely different situation. So not much news in terms of transfers. Really frustrating time. It's right now for Spurs fans failing to land. Hopefully you can do more in the transfer window. That is your daily Spurs news roundup, providing you the latest top news all in one place and your full analysis on the topics of today's video. So get involved in the comments below, anything that I said and any story you want to discuss. But for now, a massive come on you Spurs.